Okay guys, so we're going to finish up the last two types of factoring. That is going to be our sum and difference of cubes and our substitution. Okay. So first, sums and difference of cubes is very similar to the difference of squares. Instead of having perfect square roots, we're going to need to make sure that we have cube roots. Okay, so there's two different types. You can have difference of, which you'll notice is a cube root minus a cube root, or you can have sum of, which is a cube root plus a cube root. You notice over on the right side, we have a little saying that says soap signs. Okay, that just means that when we try to memorize these formulas on the right side, over here, that the S is for same, so we're going to have the same sign on the inside. So here's a minus, then we end up with a minus to start. The O is for opposite, which refers to your second sign. So we originally had minus, now we have a plus. And then the AP is always positive. So if I look at the second one, which is the sum of, one have the same sign, so a plus, opposite is a minus, and the last one's always positive. So a way to help you memorize those. So we look at the first example, which is the sum of. Okay, if I look at this, I can take the cube root of both of these. So I got to figure out what that cube root is. Okay, so in the first one it's x, and the second one it is 3. So when we look at that formula, the x and the y refer to our cube roots. So in our formula, it's x plus y. So our cube root of the first one, which is x, plus the cube root of the second one, which is 3. Okay, we look at the back half there. It's the first cube root squared, so x squared, minus the two multiplied together, so 3 times x, 3x, plus our second cube root squared, so 3 squared, which is 9. And we're done. Our next one, again, now we have two perfect cubes there with subtraction, so we're going to be doing a difference of. First thing you're going to do again is find your cube roots. So the cube root of m to the third is m. The cube root of 64 n to the third would be 4n. Okay, because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So it's going to be just like the last problem, except for this time, since it was subtraction, we're going to do a minus sign, then the opposite, which is a plus, and then our last one's always positive. So I'd have m minus 4n, and then I have my x squared, the first cube squared, so m squared. Then the middle is adding those together. Okay, so I'm going to have plus 4mn, and then the last one is that term squared, which would give me plus 16n squared. You should pause the video right now and I'll have you try the third example. Okay, in this third example, I'm just going to get this out of the way so we have some space there. You should have had, in this case, the cube of your first one would have been 2q squared, and of your second one would have been 5p to the third. Again, look at that sign, it's plus sign, so then the first sign is going to be the same. So 2q squared plus 5p to the third. And then for the back half, okay, so your first one squared, so 2q squared would give you 4q to the fourth. Okay, then we're going to do an opposite sign, so it's going to be minus. You're going to multiply your two terms together. So 10p to the third q squared. And then the back part will be your second term squared. So 25p to the 6th. Alright, so hopefully the sum and difference of cubes went well for you. So now we're going to look at substitution. Now we're going to use substitution when we have, in the case of this first one, we have this 2a minus 1 that might be kind of tricky for us to think as a variable. So what I can do there is I can replace, let's say, x, and I can say x is equal to 2a minus 1. So it's going to be able to help us write something in a little bit easier form for us to factor. So I would have this as 10x squared minus 19x minus 15. Now, you can choose whatever method you want to go for factoring here. I know some of you guys do the guess and check. You can go slide and divide, whichever thing you'd like to use for factoring. I'm going to do some slide and divide here real quick. So again, I slide that 10 over. Gives me 150 on top, a negative 150. And I have negative 19 on the bottom. Okay, so my factors in this case would be 25 and 6. And that 25 is going to be negative, so that we also add to that negative 19. Okay, so I have x minus 25, x plus 6. Okay, so that's your slide. Now we finish by dividing. Now we divide that 10 that we had out in front. 25 over 10 would reduce to 5 over 2. And I bring that 2 up to the front, and I get 2x minus 5. Over here, the 6/10 would reduce to 3 over 5. Slide that 5 out to the front, and I get 5x plus 3. Now, we're not completely done here, because now we have to substitute that 2a back in. So wherever I see an x now, I have 2 of them, I got to put that 2a minus 1 in for that. So I'm going to end up with 2 times 2a minus 1, minus 5 there still. And the other one I'm going to have 5 times 2a minus 1. And then we just have to do a little bit of distribution, and we are done. So distribute that in. That's going to give me 4a. And that's going to give me a minus 2. So minus 2 and a minus 5 is negative 7. And then I have distribution in the back there. 5 and 2 gives me 10a. 5 times negative 1, negative 5, plus 3. I'm going to end up with negative 2 there. Okay, we also need to make sure that we factor out any GCF from the end there. So I have a GCF of 2 in this spot here, so I need to factor that out to the front. So we have 2, 4a minus 7, and 5a minus 1. Okay, same thing. You know, we have a lot going on there. It might be hard for us to, take the sum of cubes here. So again, I can replace that 2a minus 1 with an x. So I can rewrite this as x to the third plus 8. And I can go ahead. That is sum of the cubes. So I take the cube root of the first one, cube root of the second one. So that's x and 2. So remember back from the beginning, your SOAPs. Okay, so in the first group, it's going to be the same sign, x plus 2. And then we have x squared. Then we have opposite signs. So we're going to be a minus here. And again, that is each cube root being multiplied, so 2 times x. And then the last one's always positive. And it's your second cube root squared. So 2 squared is 4. Okay. Now, just like before, we're going to take our, what we substituted out, that 2a minus 1, and that's going to go right into both of those spots now, or actually into all 3 of them. So I'm going to have 2a minus 1 plus 2 in the first part. I'm going to have 2a minus 1 squared minus 2 times 2a minus 1 plus 4. We're not done there. We do need to distribute and combine our like terms inside each of these quantities. So in the first part, I would end up with 2a plus 1. In the back half, okay, remember 2a minus 1 squared means 2a minus 1 times 2a minus 1, which would actually give you 4a squared minus 4a plus 1. Okay, we need to distribute back here. We get minus 4a plus 2. Because negative, negative, give you that positive, be careful, and then plus 4. So I end up with 2a plus 1 times 4a squared minus 8a. Okay, so I got that done, these done. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there is your final answer. Again, good luck with the rest of your homework today, and I will see you all on Monday.